And we're ready to rock and roll. Welcome everybody to this installment, this interview of 22nd Century Consciousness Showcase. I am so excited to have this conversation. I am Rhonda Burns. I'm a host on Inspired Choices Network. I'm an executive producer on the team, and I have the lovely owner of the network, host. And let me just tell you a little bit about Christine McIver, shall we? I've got my notes here. I'm going to behave and be professional during
What? Come on.
as much as I need to be. So Christine McIver is a possibilities coach, inspirational speaker, radio show host, and owner of Inspired Choices Network, as well as a business strategist, best-selling author, mom, sister, and amazing friend. Christine is highly successful at inspiring individuals and businesses to make choices that will bring them increased success, greater joy, self-confidence, and remarkable, inspiring change. Welcome to the showcase, Christine.
Thank you, Rhonda. I'm so glad. It's nice to kind of be in this other seat. I'm like, okay, just sit back, just chill.
You gonna let me drive for once.
I'm gonna let you drive, and you know how hard it is for me to give up control. So
I know we got two control freaks here, so how much fun can we have here on the 22nd Century Consciousness Showcase? So if it's all right with you, I would like to dive in and start to ask you some questions.
please.
So welcome to everybody that's joining us live, and whether you're watching it live or in the replay, we're so grateful to have you here. Be sure that you've tuned into all the previous shows that have been done. We've got a few more today, and then we'll wrap it up tomorrow on Friday. And don't miss any of the deals that have been offered, and don't miss any of the amazing content that Christine has interviewed everybody else, and I'm doing my one for her here with her. So Christine, how about we start with the title, 22nd Century Consciousness Showcase. So what awoke or was evoked when you heard that title, or when that title came through? What came up for you?
So it's interesting. For years, I didn't think I was intuitive, and I didn't think that I got information. When I first, I know, keep laughing, Rhonda. When I first started taking some intuitive training, right? The people that I took it with, there was 4 of us in total, with the teacher and the other 2 participants. And the 3 of them all received their information the same way. And because they, not intuitive. You're cute.
Hi, darling.
Because they all received it the same way, and I didn't. I went into conclusion that I was doing it wrong, or it just didn't happen for me.
Mine's broken. I just saw a Pretty Woman where she's doing the glasses. She's like, mine are broken.
Yeah. I really was like, what am I doing taking this class? This is ridiculous. I have no idea. Just go back to business. Right.
Oh, wow.
And, so that's now 6 years since finishing that class. And I was in that class for a couple of years. Mm-hmm. And now I allow myself to, like, I'm maybe not verbally asking questions, but I'm asking, I'm in the energy of the question. So when we looked at, maybe doing something like this with all of the hosts, and we said, well, what are we going to call it? I literally just opened my mouth and it came out. It's not like I formulated it and is that the right title or what? I literally opened my mouth and it came through, and I'm like, oh, well, that's kind of cool. Right. So I really didn't have a big, knowing about it. Like I had this intuitive that came to me and it came through me. I didn't have a knowing of what that was or what it meant or whatever. And as I've been looking at it, and especially I'm so blessed to have done all of these interviews, because I get to ask that question of everyone. And I'm loving, Rhonda, everybody, what they're sharing with me, what they got. And for me, 22nd Century Consciousness is about being at the leading edge of creation. That's what it is for me. It's being at the leading edge of creation. And because we're in the consciousness business, right? It's like, well, of course we're going to be at the leading edge of it. Like, hello, right? So that's what it is for me. It's being at the leading edge of consciousness. And, I don't have all the answers, and I still look to lots of other people that have amazing teachings, right? All of you included, and some of the leaders that I've been following, like Greg Braden is jumping in my head, and the Louise Hayeses and all of these people. But what's really coming to me now more than ever, like this showcase has pumped it up for me, is that the Louise Hayes and the Greg Bradens and everyone else, they're not ahead of me. And they're not ahead of any of us. It's really, as we are asking, right? And we are acknowledging the leaders that we are, we're getting the downloads just as fast and just as clear as everyone else.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And what you may be able to bring through is different than what I can bring through, or it may not exist until you bring it through.
Right.
And that's the beauty of it. So that you're willing to listen for those whispers and ask, and you are being the energy of question at all times.
Right.
And that helps you get that. So thank you. That's brilliant. So I have the questions jotted down, but there's one that's coming through and I think it wants to wait. We'll ask a different question first, and then I may throw you a curveball. Words would be helpful.
Where's my mitt? Cool.
So, your radio show, Inspired Choices, every Wednesday night on the network, on inspiredchoicesnetwork.com, 8 a.m. Eastern time. You guys, that's where you can catch Christine's show. So at your show, as well as the shows on the network, how are they contributing to 22nd century consciousness? What would you like to say about that?
Wow, it's interesting. My throat is suddenly tickly.
Oh, more to say.
How is that? How? Okay, so this is what I've been thinking about, and like, what is it for me? And I believe that it all is encompassed in what you're saying, what you're asking, and in what I've been thinking about. You've heard this story 100 times, and I'm going to tell it really quickly again. But when I was little, I was told I talked too much. And over the years, as I've come to know that that was someone else's point of view, and it wasn't mine, and I no longer had to use it to turn myself off, and I let go of it, I started to step in to being more of me and being more of me. And when I started to do the radio, I mean, my business is called Inspired Choices, Inc., right? And that was chosen 10 years ago. Right. And I didn't start radio until a few years later. And it was just like, well, it just makes sense, from a marketing and a business perspective, right? That makes sense. And then when you and I, you were definitely with me as we started to look at the network and what it wanted to be called. And it was hard for me. Do you remember? It was hard for me to call it Inspired Choices Network.
I'm pretty sure I'm the one who told you that's what it needed to be called.
Yeah, you kicked my bum. And now that I look at all of it, and I look at the voice piece, and I look at being inspired and choices, and now we're talking about consciousness and the future. The big thing for me of what I know that my radio show has done, and what all of the shows that we've ever had on the network, every single solitary episode, is about bringing someone's voice to the world. That, I'm getting clearer and clearer and clearer that is a huge flag that I'm carrying.
Awesome.
That is one of my biggest pillars. And I don't know exactly where that's going to go. I'm not pushing it, but I'm getting clear about that, Rhonda, that this is what's critical, in my opinion. This is what's critical. And this is the thing that's going to tip things over as far as creating consciousness for the world, is when every person, we have 7.6 billion people on the planet today, when every single solitary person, regardless of their age, regardless of their economics, regardless of their sex, their ethnicity, anything, when they, each and every one, understand that their voice is a sound that's required for the music of consciousness, that's what's going to change the world. That's what's going to make, and it's not from a push, it's not from an angry, it's not from a yell, but bringing your voice to the platform, bringing your voice forward and saying, hey, this is what I know. This is what's important to me. This is how I see it to be possible. When every single one of us start to do this, from a space, right? It's just like when I interviewed Keisha earlier, we really talked a lot about space on the interview. And it's just come with your voice from your space and be space with what you have to bring. No judgment of you or what anybody else brings, but it is a beautiful dish that every single voice is an ingredient that is creating something that has never been, as you said, has never been here before. And this, I know, is going to change the face of consciousness on the planet.
That's awesome. Thank you for that. There's so much dancing. It's like, which thread do I pull on? So to put you a little bit on the spot, and you've just addressed it beautifully, and I'm just wondering if there's anything, speaking of your intuition, if there's anything right now that would like to come through that you know about voices and 22nd century consciousness that no one else knows. Is there anything additional? There may not be anything additional right now, but I'm being asked to put you on the spot a little bit because you know something about voices in 22nd century consciousness that nobody else knows.
I think it's that. It's actually teaching people that their voice is so critical, and they know something, or they will receive when they're open to receiving more awareness, and they're really open to looking at what's going on in the world and asking some questions about it, right? Regardless of where you are, you can look at things, and this is very easy for us to talk about, but you can look at, President Trump. And everybody has an opinion, and everybody, wants to sound off, right? But what if we, each and every person, actually looked at it and asked some questions of what we know, and then started to bring that forward? How can that truthfully contribute? And that's the piece. Each person may know something today, or may receive something differently with a different perspective that will contribute to the next person. So, Rhonda, you and I talk so often and so much, and you'll say something and boom, I'll get an awareness of something, right? And then I could talk to Keisha, right? And then boom, she could get an awareness. And then Keisha could talk to Melitza, and boom, Melitza gets an awareness. This is the domino effect of consciousness. This is how each and every one of us can speak what we know and ignite the next person's voice.
Brilliant. You just preempted the next question I was going to ask you. That's awesome. Which the next question was, what are you most excited about for the future of consciousness? And that feels like the energy of excitement. And is there anything else that you would add?
I am super excited about people acknowledging that they know something. Right? And it doesn't matter whether you are bringing your voice to the platform of just talking to people one-on-one, or you are writing a book, or you're having a brilliant radio show on our network, or you're on some other platform, or you write a blog. It doesn't matter. But I'm excited about people just acknowledging that there is something that they know. And everybody talks about it, but coming out of criticizing themselves and checking, is this okay? Is this not okay? I mean, you know me, I've had doubt, I feel like doubt has been a skin that I've worn for my entire life. And I've slowly been able to peel it away. And I still have it come up. I still have it come to me. But it's just like, what would the world really be like if we let go of the doubt? And we said, this is what feels true for me. This is what I know. This is the sound that I'd like to add to the symphony. And as each of us do that, right? I mean, if you really look at consciousness and the voices as a symphony, right? Our beautiful friend Alfie Joe, and being a musician, and I get to listen to so many of her shows and produce so many of her shows. She's so brilliant with so many different instruments, and the way she explains them. Have you ever heard her talk about? Yeah. She explains, notes down to the finest, and I'm like, wow, this woman knows stuff, right? And when you really realize that, yeah, the the saxophone may have the glory spot, but without the trombone in the back, the saxophone can't shine.
Yeah.
Right? So every single one of us, we have a note in the orchestra, in the creation of the message, that the consciousness, this is what I know, consciousness is begging for us to step up. Consciousness is like, guys, we're downloading it. Will you please put on your headset and listen?
Get the memo.
Get the memo. Yeah. So that's what it is. That's really what it is for me.
Brilliant. So speaking of 22nd century consciousness, where do you see yourself, Christine, 5 years from now, 10 years from now? What are some big targets you have?
To get through the showcase.
Let's get through Friday. We're so close.
Hang on there, sister. I think, especially after listening and talking to all of you, really putting more play into my life. I mean, today I've played a lot. I woke up, wasn't feeling it. I'm like, had a client first thing this morning. I dragged my butt to my desk. And the minute I step into being who I be, it started to change, right? And then after having an interview with Lisa Bennett, I was joking around and I created this video. You've seen it, where I'm running back and forth. And I was
Let me pause you right there, friends. If you're not connected with Christine on Facebook, get connected, because she's been very playful by video on FaceTime or Facebook Live. So go back. Yes, you did.
Yes.
The one running across the banner. I saw that one. That was awesome.
Right. And then I did one where I just felt inspired to bake.
Cooking it up in the kitchen.
I'm in there cooking it up. I just can't wait to eat some of it. And, and then just that playful, like really where I see myself is more play and more at this. It's like a simultaneity of playing more and contributing more to others. Really, I'd like to be known even more as a leader that inspires others to speak.
Awesome.
That's what really turns me on and lights me up. When I look at, we've had over at least 90 hosts on the network, right? So I've been producing since 2004. And I would say out of those, 90 plus hosts, I would say that 80% of them had never done a radio show before. They didn't know how to do a radio show. They had no idea. They were very nervous, right? And I'm privileged and honored that they've come to me, that they've entrusted me with guiding them and inspiring them and showing them the way, and that they can do it. And it tickles me pink when, I still have to pinch myself. You might be producing, somebody else might be producing on the radio, and I'll be out for a walk and I'll have my phone with me. If there's a live show going on, I'm often listening, right? Yeah. And every once in a while, I feel like there's a voice going, you created this, right?
Totally.
and then I'll go, oh my gosh, like they're on the radio because I guided them. Yes, they chose it. Absolutely. And they could be on somebody else's platform, but to know that that's a contribution I'm making in the world to really guide people forward, that lights me up like you wouldn't believe.
Brilliant. Yeah, one of the questions I was going to ask you is, what would you like to be known for when you do transition? I think you articulated it beautifully. You'd like to be known as someone who inspires others to speak. You invite people forward. You inspire them to do that. So I'm hearing the question, if somebody is out on the peripheral and they are interested potentially in putting their voice into the world on Inspired Choices Network or into the world, but they're just not sure like how or when or what would you advise interested people, potential participants to do,
right,
to get started, or to have, what would you recommend?
So, well, the first thing I would invite them to do is ask this question. If I don't speak, how will I feel at the end of my life?
Ooh, good one.
Because that was the thing, and I've said this before as well. I heard Dr. Wayne Dyer. Dr. Wayne Dyer was the first person who prompted me. I was at my brother's house. I was not into this spiritual woohoo shit. And he had the TV on and I'm thinking, and my brother was not this either, right? And I'm thinking, what the hell is he watching? And all of a sudden, I swear to God, it was like a magnet pulled me in to what he was saying. And I was mesmerized in the TV. I couldn't move. And he said, don't die with your song left in you. And I swear to God, tears started rolling down my face. It just, I didn't know what it was, but I knew what it was. Does that make sense?
Totally. Absolutely.
And so ask that question, if you die and you don't speak, will there be regret in your world?
Yeah.
Right. And then if you get a yes, you know, I'd love to have a conversation with you. I'd love to share with you what we can do to support you, to guide you, to teach you, to infuse more fun and play and ease with all of this. And if you choose it, great. If you don't, I got to spend an hour with you. Like, I've had so many conversations, and lots of people, you know, it wasn't their time. I have a woman who's starting, I didn't even get to tell you this. There's a woman that's starting in 2 weeks, and I spoke to her a year ago, and it just became a yes in the last week and a half. So it's like, you know, I don't know where the seeds are, you know, when the seeds are going to come to harvest, but I'm going to keep planting them.
Brilliant. And it's so your strength. And I'm going to give kudos and accolades to you now, because yes, we are friends. Yes, I do work with the network. Yes, I have my own show. You had been hounding me for some time to have a show. And I was like, not yet, not yet, not yet. Now, people who know me, like, this girl can talk. Like, I like to be on stage. I like to be centered. So the fact that I was like, no, not yet, but you just kept asking. And then one day you said, you about ready? And I said, yep. And what I appreciate about you and what you've created and what I get to be part of with the team is that we really do take care of the people that come in. We care that their subject matter and their voices and their messages and their content is easefully and artfully presented. So we do all the work, right? We do all the legwork. We do all the back stuff. We do the dissemination of social media and what have you. So I did a pre-record earlier with somebody today, and she was kind of stuck. And she, in the chat room, said, yes, can you help me out? And so I got to prompt her with some questions, right? So we are here, and this is what you are so good at. I want you to get this and receive this. You are so good at ensuring others' success. And you do it for me every single day. And I just want you to receive that, how much I appreciate, receive it, how much I appreciate and all of us appreciate. You are some of our biggest champions, and you do hold up that level. You want us to succeed, and you do everything in your power to put your part into it. Yeah, we've got an amen in the chat. Exactly. Hey. So thank you, Christine. Thank you for beating the drum. I've been with you behind. I know how challenging some days get, but you have just persisted and been tenacious, and it shows. And so 22nd century consciousness, I can feel it, I can hear it, I can perceive it. It is so grateful and appreciative and excited that you are beating this drum. And so just from the bottom of my heart and soul, thank you.
You're welcome. I wasn't supposed to cry on this.
I got her.
Yeah, she got me.
Right? That was just a flow of love. That was just consciousness flowing through, wanting to be spoken. So friends, if you're listening to this, if you would like to potentially speak about having your voice on the network, I'm going to invite you to connect with Christine in a couple of ways. Inspired Choices, inspiredchoices.ca is your website.
Correct.
Christine, CHRISTINE @inspiredchoices.ca is your email address, correct?
Yes.
Are there any other ways they can connect with you to get to potentially have a conversation?
You can go right over to Inspired Choices Network and click on the Become a Host, and it'll walk you through the whole process to connect and schedule a meeting with me. And we just do it this way. We just do it through Zoom, and we have
thorough. The girl is thorough. She covers every question. Like, you'll have more information you'll ever need, and you will be able to make a very educated decision. And when you choose, you get to play with us on a regular basis.
Yeah, and we'd be laughing. Well, tell everybody what our latest titles are.
Latest titles of what?
What do we do 5 minutes before the show goes live when we're producing?
Oh, I fluff them. We fluff them.
We fluff them. We're now fluffers.
I proudly Like I can fluff like nobody's business, and so can you. So
Yeah.
now that everybody's gone,
What in the heck just happened?
what? No form,
Well,
structure, significance.
you know, the thing is, the really big thing is that whether you choose to be with us or you choose to just speak to people in your life, please bring your voice forward. Please, please. Don't sit back. I had a recent interaction where two people were talking and I just sat back and I said nothing. And I literally could hear myself saying, what are you doing? Why are you not talking? Why are you not contributing? Why are you not speaking what's true for you right now? And it was a slam in the face. It was like, what the hell am I doing? Right. And it's like, okay. And so I made the commitment to myself, I'm not doing that again. I don't have to be forceful. You know, I grew up and there was many times that I was very forceful. And I think the reason I was so forceful is because I wanted so much to be heard and I felt like I was so shut down. And that's not there today. You know, I've learned how to navigate, how to bring my voice to the table and continue to learn, right? I continue to grow, but every single one of us, every single person, wherever you are, wherever you're doing, please know that if there's something that you want to say, there's someone waiting to hear it.
Absolutely. And they might only be able to hear it from you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well,
so
one other thing.
Yeah.
One other thing I want to say before we can close up. There will be times, and it's so funny because you and I are posting the shows that people can see them on the front end of the show, on the front end of the website. And there are times when, and the hosts don't know what each other's doing.
Right.
Right. And there'll be times where in 1 week, there will be like half of the shows are all talking about the exact same thing. Right. Like it's so funny how
that's called consciousness in action.
Consciousness in action. And you know what? You know, you and I will probably hear all of those shows and they all deliver it in a different way.
Absolutely.
So if you think what you have to say has already been said, think again.
My nose is itching. She's on it. That's my indication. We're right on it. That's spot on. Ding, 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 ding.
Okay. That's it.
So friends, as all of us have, Christine has an amazing package, promotional package she's put together. And so I'm going to look at and let you speak to what these are, but I'm just going to mention you have your Pleasure of Business series, Business Lady over there, 24-week program, your choice of 3 calls, video, audio, and PDF downloads. That's a 450 Canadian value. Yes?
Yes, correct.
You have a audio recording of your book chapter, Old Maid Be Damned, which is an awesome chapter from Relationships Done Easy, the book that we were part of. That's
yes.
a $10 value, audio, so you can listen to it, friends. Embracing Change Zoom call series, 4 calls starting July 19th, a $297 value, Canadian. And Manipulation for Masterful, let me just start and slow this one down. Manipulation for Masterful Consciousness, Zoom call series. Can I get an amen? 3 calls beginning August 23rd, a $397 value. Total value of the package, $1,154. That says it's only for $197. Are you kidding me? So why don't you just tell us what you want us to know about that? Because that's a dang good deal, girl.
Hold on to your hats because we're going to go. I'm just like, it was like more just kept coming. I was like, no, I'm like, I am stepping into this more and I'm inviting other people. I'm throwing down the gauntlet. I double dog dare you to step the hell up because enough. What? Oh, yes, I did. Yeah. So the Pleasure of Business series, 24 weeks that we did, it was fabulous. We talked about pricing for your business, to teaching you about Facebook, to how to do newsletters, to, you know, there's 24 different titles. It was a fabulous series. I'm not looking at doing that again soon. So, but the information in there is still really, really awesome.
So basically all the facets of having your own business.
Everything.
Covered them in segments and it's pre-recorded. Easy
right.
peasy, people. Okay.
Yeah, easy peasy. So you can listen, you can watch, and we do demonstrations. Like I teach you how to do Instagram.
Nice.
right? Like I can screenshot my phone and walk you through how to do Instagram. So if there's 3 calls, you get to pick 3 of the calls, and I will send you all of the data from that.
Wow.
And then the chapter, and what's fun about the Old Maids Be Damned, because I loved writing that, and I am not a big physical writer, as you know, but I loved writing that. And
You're a great storyteller.
It just,
Told a
yeah,
great story.
it poured out of me. And when I read it out loud, you can feel the different inflections, right, with my voice. And I had so much fun. And I've read it to a number of different people. I read it to my mom, and she's like, what? I didn't know those things. Yeah, so that was fun. And then these 2, embracing change. You know, oftentimes we look at things that we've gone through in our life and we go, well, that was not fun. That was not fun. That was not fun. And our dear friend Melitza said to me, Christine, you have moved through so much change, and the way you move through it with such ease, and not that it's always easy, but you've got a skill for change. And I'm like, oh my God, you know, I'd never, you know, just take some
being it, you don't recognize it.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And the manipulation, I think I teach people how to manipulate every single solitary week. I'm teaching people how to manipulate, and you know what? It's time. I am going to bring my skills to the table. And Melitza said, every person should take this course from you because you are brilliant at it. So
yeah, absolutely. Yes, he is. I can vouch for that. So be sure to get the package. You will, if you're on this list, you will receive these replays through the day, through the entire week. They're available to you, but don't hesitate. Get your charge card out, your PayPal, or however, you know, follow the links, but you'll get that information in the email. So Christine, we are out of time, but I just want to, first of all, again, thank you for putting this together, for allowing all of us to play. Thank you for inviting our voices to the world. Thank you for your voice and your leadership and tutelage that you bring to the world. So is there anything that you would like to say as we head out that you'd like to leave people with?
Consciousness is fun. The future can be fun, but there is something that is required, and that something is you. That's what's required.
I love it.
That's it.
Excellent.
Okay. So, thank you.
Everybody who joined us. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody who joined.
We will see you in the next interview. So,
yeah.
big hugs and gratitude.
Bye for now.
Bye.